The wind still 35 miles an hour, and the biggest concern for cities like Jackson, the rain. And joining us now is the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, Chokwe Lumumba. And Mayor, thank you as always for being with us. The storm is headed towards you. What is your major concern at this point in time?
Well, first and foremost, Dale, thank you for having me, and my prayers are with all of the communities impacted by Ida. At this time, we're concerned about the increased rainfall, how it will impact flash flooding and the flood-prone areas within our city. We're also concerned with damaging winds, how it may lead to debris throughout the city and potentially leading to down power lines.
Mayor, you're not facing a hurricane, you're facing a tropical storm, but you've had two problems that are compounded by anything that happens in Jackson, one being the water problems that we saw that you experienced back in the winter, and the other being COVID. The hospitals in Mississippi are full. So what do you tell residents who say, I'm afraid to stay in my house because of fears of flooding or for even something like high winds?
Well, first and foremost, I would advise that even a tropical storm can have a catastrophic impact, and so people should certainly heed all of the warnings we have been providing. And you do raise a very important point. This is why we need people to hunker down, to not travel the roadways, to not move through standing water, don't walk, swim, or ride through it, because we have hospitals that are at their full capacity in the midst of COVID. And also we know that our infrastructure is in a very delicate state. All of these things are why we try to be as proactive as possible, having teams in place from our public works department, from our fire and police departments. And so prayerfully, we're able to get through this next challenge that is upon us, but we do need our residents to heed the warnings that are being provided to them.
Mayor, I hate to use this phrase, but it is the perfect storm of what you were warning all of us about when COVID first appeared on the landscape a little more than a year ago, which is that you were trying to keep the hospitalizations down. In the event that there was a major crisis, there wouldn't be enough beds to treat people who may need emergency care. Do you have enough beds right now in Jackson, Mississippi, in case things really go bad?
Well, our hospitalization rate is at its critical point. This is why we need our residents to understand the importance of vaccination. When we're talking about that, we don't typically consider all of the normal patterns that we experience in the course of a year. Now that hurricane season is upon us, the hospitalization rate becomes all that more important to us. We don't think about all of the other matters that may require our medical personnel to attend to people. And so these are it is a series of challenges that Jackson has suffered in recent months and even recent years at this point, and communities like Jackson. And so it is really important that we unite and identify the ways that we better protect ourselves. We can do so by vaccinating. We can do so by contributing and supporting our infrastructure. We're grateful that there's increased discussion about how we support infrastructure, because communities are dealing with more rain in the rainy season, hotter summers and colder winters. And all of this is seen at a moment like this, the true impacts of this.
Mayor, what is it like to lead during these times? I mean, if you think about it, there once was a time you were described as a public servant, but now people who work in the health field are being challenged on things as simple as wearing a mask. People like you are being challenged on things like vaccine mandates, even by your own governor. And even if you talk about the climate, there were people in Memphis, Tennessee, who awoke one morning last week thinking that they were going to sleep with 4 inches of rain. They woke up with 17 inches and 21 people died. What is it like now being a leader during these times of crisis when so many people are so divided on so many different issues?
Well, these are very challenging times. We've seen our fair share of crises here in the city, not only at the hands of COVID, a 30-year flood, the winter freezes that you mentioned, and how it has debilitated our water infrastructure. Fortunately for me, I don't believe that my leadership has to be a compilation of my own thoughts and opinions, but being willing to share in collective genius. being willing to rely on the knowledge and understanding of our residents, being willing to surround myself with a team that is going to give me the necessary information. The reality is COVID doesn't dictate that I understand medicine. It dictates that I be open and willing to hear the advice of those who do. And so I think that the best leaders are people who present themselves or surround themselves with knowledgeable people. And I think that is something that we all have to do at this time.
Mayor, are you hopeful that the dam, so to speak, will break with regards to this particular issue of not trusting public servants that makes your job so difficult? Are you hoping that we can get back to the days where people dig in and try and help out their neighbor and do what's best for the person sitting next to them, as opposed to saying, this is my body, this is my right?
Well, I think that is going to be a measure of how we incorporate and work with people. That is going to be how we engage in democratizing power. We believe in involving the community here in Jackson. We believe in people's assemblies. So it's not just a simple measure of what we call transparency. The most transparent thing we can do is incorporate people in the process. I think that we're at a moment, based on all of the things that are challenging us in our world, that we rethink what electoral politics looks like, that we recalibrate and re-engage with people on the very basic grassroots level. I think that will lead to greater trust. I think that might model the behavior we want to see amongst neighbors, as you speak of.
Jackson, Mississippi Mayor Chokwe Lumumba. Mayor, as always, thank you for being with us and keep us apprised of everything that happens with regards to the tropical storm. And if you need us, you know exactly where to find us, and we will find you if you need us as well. Mayor, thank you very much.